We come to know an idea, we reflect on it, and we develop a certain understanding of it. It is only when we live it that we truly assimilate it. Then you can say, this idea is now a part of me. Ideas do not demand copyright. Plato himself will not come knocking at your door to say, hey, that idea belongs to me. No, each time you live an idea, you recreate it within your own life. In fact, you may notice details that perhaps those who lived it in the past did not perceive. You have something to add, you can teach, you can pass it forward. This is what makes someone, in fact, an educator. Because if I simply repeat what was said before, I might as well tell the person to stay home and read what was written in the past. What makes me an educator is that I am able to add a little bit, even just a drop, to this vessel of knowledge that I have received. You see, because I have lived it, and by living it, I can contribute something, some detail from my own experience that is not already included there. So we integrate. Ideas become part of us when we live them. Notice how the sequence unfolds, right? At first, we start talking without really knowing what we are talking about. We begin to search for ideas. We only memorize those ideas. Then we reflect on them, we understand, and now we live the ideas. Is that the end of the story? The story isn't over yet. We still have more ahead of us. Living ideas is not the same as wanting to share them out of love. In other words, you already live the ideas, but then what? And what about the desire to pass them on? And that burning feeling of not wanting to keep for yourself something you know could benefit others? A deep and passionate urge to pass things forward. And this is an element that I find truly beautiful in every idealist, in every philosopher. This burning desire to share with others what has transformed your own life. Today we are so apathetic that I wonder how many human beings still feel within themselves this burning will, this passionate desire to give meaning to life, this ardent longing to do something for the world. In other words, from the moment we begin to feel this, we start to draw closer to the language of the heart, don't we? So there is this first concept here, which is the sacred pain. Helena Blavatsky, a great thinker of the 19th century, spoke about this in her work, The Voice of the Silence, didn't she? She said that a little of humanity's pain must walk with you. Oh, but what a terrible thing it is to go around carrying pain. A measure, a tear, a bit of humanity's pain, just a little, must walk with you so that you are not consumed by selfishness. Selfishness is an enormous force, and it is the greatest evil in the world. I challenge you. I'll bet all my cards on this, because I've tried this experiment for many years and have never managed to refute her argument that selfishness is behind all human problems. You can look for yourself, your personal problems, the collective problems of society. If you keep peeling away the masks of these problems, the final face you will find is selfishness. When you carry within yourself even a small part of humanity's pain, you realize that you cannot ignore it, and therefore, you cannot surrender to selfishness. Then you begin to consider every decision you make, not just the one that brings you the greatest personal gain, but the one that benefits the most people beyond yourself. I get out of bed in the morning not solely to pursue my own goals, to chase after my own interests, but to try to add some value to the world, to others, to life as a whole. This sacred pain, it must be with us. We cannot ignore the pain of humanity. It is part of us. It must remain with us. There is a passage by Helena Blavatsky in which she recommends a prayer for us to say every morning, and she says, "Pray for the good of humanity." People have no idea this is a turning point. When we stop thinking so much about ourselves and begin to think a little about humanity, this is a turning point. It elevates our lives in an extraordinary way. I always play a little game with my students, and now I will play it with you. I ask them to imagine the following. They've found the genie of the lamp. But now the genie of the lamp has become a bit more frugal. The assembly, the genie's union, has decided that it will no longer be 3 wishes, just 1 wish, but it can be anything. What you're going to ask the genie for? Tell me, are you going to ask for anything personal? Or will you ask for something for humanity? Look, don't lie. Be honest. The first thing we think about is that trip I want to take, that car, that house in Miami, right on the shore, right with that big boat in front. Oh, such a thing. The first thing we think about is something personal, let's be honest. The first and sometimes the only thing we think about. Now imagine this. You have 1 wish. You can ask for anything. And you ask for yourself. While 8 billion human beings are suffering intensely, I'll go ahead and leave my suggestion, just in case you ever come across the genie in the lamp out there. Ask that all of humanity become much, much, much kinder than it is today, that it reaches an almost maximum level of kindness. Wish for that. Have you ever imagined something like this? All of humanity, 8 billion people, much kinder? It would solve all of humanity's problems. But in general, we think of ourselves. There is a turning point when we begin to take humanity's problems as our own. And is this what lies behind those who speak from the heart? It is what lies behind those who speak from the heart, my dear. Have no doubt about it, because this is the kind of thing that awakens the human heart. So this is the sacred pain to consider. I don't have much. I will share the ideas I have with others. I know almost nothing. The little you have can mean a lot to many people who have absolutely nothing. We live in a world where the most obvious things are being forgotten. The basic ABCs of identity, spirituality, and values are being forgotten. Do you have just a little bit? Is it already enough to share? Yes, it is. That little bit is not meant to be kept to yourself. As Khalil Gibran once said, we are a station for enriching the gifts of life. They pass through us and emerge greater on the other side. And that is why we exist. So if you have even a little bit for someone who is nothing, you already have something to give. In other words, you have the drive, which is the pain of humanity, and you have the means, even if it's just a small thing, to share. A good start, an excellent start, right? The more we give, the more we have. Aristotle already said this, didn't he? That virtues are strengthened through practice. In other words, I have a little bit of self-control. I teach this. Tomorrow I will have more. I am practicing. I am passing on what I know. I have a little bit of patience. I share it. I teach people how to be patient. Tomorrow I will have more. The more I pass this on, the more I will have, the more I will develop these virtues of mine. And tomorrow I will have more to offer than I have today. This is how we grow. By sharing what we have, tomorrow we will have more. This phrase, which I find very beautiful, also comes from Professor Jorge Ángel Livraga, founder of New Acropolis, who once said to his students at New Acropolis this phrase, "See how beautiful it is. Let no one say of you, I passed by them and they gave me nothing." That is beautiful. Let no one say of you, I passed by her, by him, and they gave me nothing. When we are committed to all of humanity, when we wish to share the little that we have, anyone who passes by us will leave with something, however small, the best that we have. Are we perfect? No, no one is perfect, but we can give our very best today, and tomorrow we will have more. And tomorrow we will give our best for that day. And the day after tomorrow, we will have even more. That is how it works. The more the spring quenches the thirst of all who draw from it, the more abundantly it flows. The symbolism of the heart. What does the heart represent? Well, the heart, are we talking about the physical heart? No, in truth, the physical heart is only associated with this. It is the most concrete aspect of the symbolism, but the idea behind the symbolism of the heart is the symbolism of the center around which life revolves. All physical beings have a center around which life gravitates. But we are not only physical beings. On subtler planes, there is an identity, a center around which our existence as human beings revolves. This essence, this drop, this cell of God, which we can say is our true self. This is the true heart. The true heart is that tiny cell of God that lives within you.